with the hope that you will all be well. Let's start today's lecture. In this lecture, we will study about various types of beams, loadings, and support conditions for typical structures such as cantilever and simple beams. The loads such as concentrated or distributed loads and support conditions include clamped, roller, pin, and sliding support would be the part of this lecture. So we will start with the brief introduction of the topic. Structural members are usually classified according to the types of loads that they support. For instance, an axially loaded bar supports forces having their vectors directed along the axis of the bar, and a bar in torsion supports stalks or couples having their moment vectors directed along the axis. However, in this lecture, we begin our study of beams, which are actually structural members subjected to lateral loads, that is, forces or moments having their vectors perpendicular to the axis of the bar. The beams shown in figure here are classified as planar structures because they lie in a single plane. If all loads act in that same plane and if all deflections that are shown with the dashed line here in figure occur in that plane, then we refer to that plane as the plane of bending. Now we will see and discuss the different types of beams and loadings. Beams are usually described by the manner in which they are supported. For instance, a beam with the pin support at one end and a roller support at the other end is called a simply supported beam or a simple beam. The essential feature of a pin support is that it prevents translation at the end of a beam but does not prevent rotation. Thus, end A of the beam cannot move horizontally or vertically, but the axis of the beam can rotate in the plane of the figure. Consequently, a pin support is capable of developing a force reaction with both horizontal and vertical components symbolized with HA and RA here in figure. But it cannot develop a moment reaction. However, at end B of the beam, the roller support prevents translation in the vertical direction but not in the horizontal direction. Hence, this support can resist a vertical force RB but not a horizontal force. Of course, the axis of the beam is free to rotate at point B just as it is at point A. The vertical reaction at roller supports and pin supports may act either upward or downward. In the same way, the horizontal reaction at a pin support may act either to the left or to the right. In the figures, reactions are indicated by slashes across the arrows in order to distinguish them from loads. Now we will see some other types of beams. The beam which is shown in figure here is fixed at one end and free at the other end is called a cantilever beam. At the fixed support or clamped support, the beam can neither translate nor rotate, whereas at the free end it may do both. Consequently, both force and moment reactions may exist at the fixed support. However, the third example in the figure is a beam with an overhang. The beam is simply supported at points A and point B. That is, it has a pin support at A and a roller support at point B. But it also projects beyond the support at point B. The overhanging segment BC is similar to a cantilever beam except that the beam axis may rotate at point B. So our previous discussion concludes that when drawing sketches of beams, we identify the supports by conventional symbols such as those shown in figure here. These symbols indicate the manner in which beam is restrained and therefore they also indicate the nature of reactive forces and moments. However, the symbols do not represent the actual physical construction. For instance, consider the example shown in figure here. The figure shows a wide flange beam supported on a concrete wall and held down by anchor bolts and passed through slotted hole on the lower flange of the beam. This connection restrains the beam against vertical movement either upward or downward but does not prevent horizontal movement. Also, any restraint against rotation of the longitudinal axis of the beam is small and ordinarily may be disregarded. Consequently, this type of support is usually represented by a roller as shown in figure here. The second example is a beam of column connection. which is the beam is attached to the column flange by bolted angles. See photo here. This type of support is usually assumed to restrain the beam against horizontal and vertical movement but not against rotation. Restraint against rotation is slight because both the angles and column can bend. Thus, this connection is usually represented as a pin support for the beam. The task of representing a real structure by an idealized model is an important aspect of engineering work. The model should be simple enough to facilitate mathematical analysis and yet complex enough to represent the actual behavior of the structure with reasonable accuracy. So after discussing the various types of beams, now we will see the different types of loads. Several types of loads that act on beams are illustrated in figures here. When a load is applied over a small area, it may be idealized as a concentrated load, which is a single force load. Examples are the loads P1, P2, P3 and P4 here in figures. However, when a load is spread along the axis of a beam, it is represented as a distributed load, such as the load Q in part A of the figure. Distributed loads are measured by their intensity, which is expressed in units of force per unit distance. For example, newtons per meter or pounds per feet. However, a uniformly distributed load or uniform load has constant intensity Q per unit distance. The other example is the varying load that has intensity that changes with distance along the axis. For instance, the linearly varying load shown in part B of the figure has an intensity that varies linearly from Q1 to Q2. And finally, the other kind of load is a couple, illustrated by the couple of moment M1 acting on the overhanging beam. Now we will move towards the analysis of the beam. Finding the reactions is usually the first step in the analysis of a beam. Once the reactions are known, the shear forces and bending moments can be found. If a beam is supported in a statically determinate manner, all reactions can be found from free body diagrams and equations of equilibrium. As an example, let us determine the reactions of a simple beam AB as shown in figure here. This beam is loaded by an inclined force P1, a vertical force P2 and a uniformly distributed load of intensity Q. We begin by noting that the beam has three unknown reactions, a horizontal force that is symbolized with HA at the pin support, a vertical force RA at the pin support and a vertical force RB at the roller support. For a planar structure such as this beam, we know from statics that we can write three independent equations of equilibrium. Thus, since there are three unknown reactions and three equations, the beam is statically determinate. The equation of horizontal equilibrium is HA minus P1 cos alpha is equal to 0, where HA is the horizontal force at the pin support and force P1 is an inclined force, so P1 cos alpha is the horizontal component of the force P1. From this equation we get HA is equal to P1 cos alpha. This result is so obvious from an inspection of the beam that ordinarily we would not bother to write the equations of equilibrium. However, to find the vertical reactions RA and RB, we write equations of moment equilibrium about points B and point A respectively, with counterclockwise moments taken as positive. So we can say that the equation of moment equilibrium about point B is equal to minus RA L. L is the distance from point B and RA is the reaction force at a pin support. Minus represents, as we already discussed, the counterclockwise moments being positive. Minus RA represents the moment of this reaction force is clockwise. So here we inserted a negative sign with RA reaction force plus P1 sin alpha L minus A P1 sine alpha is the vertical component of the force P1 and L minus A is the distance from point B, plus P2 L minus B plus Q C square over 2 is equal to 0. In the same way, the equation of moment equilibrium about point A is RBL minus P1 sine alpha A minus P2B minus QC L minus C over 2 is equal to 0. Now solving these equations to find out the reactions RA and RB, we get the following expressions. RA is equal to P1 sine alpha L minus A over L plus P2 L minus B over L plus Q C square over 2L. In the same way, the equation for RB would be expressed as P1 sine alpha A over L plus P2 B over L plus QC L minus C over 2 over L. As a check on these results, we can write an equation of equilibrium in the vertical direction and verify that it reduces to an identity. Now we will see another example. Consider the cantilever beam as shown in figure here. The loads consist of an inclined force P3 and a linearly varying distributed load. The latter is represented by a trapezoidal diagram of load intensity that varies from Q1 to Q2. The reactions at the fixed spot are a horizontal force HA, a vertical force RA, and a couple MA. So the equilibrium of forces in the horizontal direction gives HA is equal to 5 P3 over 13. For this we have to find out the hypotenuse of the triangle by using the expression hypotenuse square is equal to perpendicular square plus base square. That would be equal to 13. So the final expression for the equilibrium of forces in the horizontal direction is HA is equal to 5 P3 over 13. And the equilibrium in the vertical direction gives RA is equal to 12 P3 over 13 plus Q1 plus Q2 over 2 multiplied by B. In finding this reaction, we use the fact that the resultant of the distributed load is equal to the area of the trapezoidal loading diagram. However, the moment reaction RA at the fixed spot is found from an equation of equilibrium of moments. In this example, we will sum moments about point A in order to eliminate both HA and RA from the moment equation. Also, for the purpose of finding the moment of the distributed load, we will divide the trapezoid into two triangles as shown by the dashed line in figures. Each load triangle can be replaced by its resultant, which is a force having its magnitude equal to the area of the triangle and having its line of action through the centroid of the triangle as shown in figure. Thus, the moment about point A of the lower triangular part of the load is Q1B over 2 multiplied by L minus 2B over 3, in which Q1B over 2 is the resultant force equal to the area of the triangular load diagram, and L minus 2B over 3 is the moment arm about point A of the resultant. However, the moment of the upper triangular portion of the load is obtained by a similar procedure. That would be Q2B over 2 L minus B over 3. And the final equation of moment equilibrium considering counterclockwise is positive is MA minus 12 P3 over 13A minus Q1B over 2 L minus 2B over 3. This expression is actually the moment about point A of the lower triangular part of the load minus Q2B over 2 L minus B over 3. That is the moment about point A of the upper triangular part of the load, from which we can get the expression for MA, that would be 12 P3A over 13 plus Q1B over 2 L minus 2B over 3 plus Q2B over 2 L minus B over 3. Since this equation gives a positive result, the reactive moment MA acts in the assumed direction, that is counterclockwise. The expressions for RA and MA can be checked by taking moments about point B of the beam and verifying that the resulting equation of equilibrium reduces to an identity. So here I am giving another example with expressions. However, I am leaving this at students and as an home task. Students should have to find the expressions for reaction forces RA and RB by applying the concepts learned in this lecture. Thank you for your attention.